YouTube, B Smokehouse back here with you. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm back, and one of my New Year goals is to be a bit more consistent in my posting of videos. Again, B Smokehouse, welcome to 2026. Today we got a Coppa roast. This is a portion of a pork butt I sourced from Porter Road. So what this is a roast that contains the money muscle. See that money muscle there? Not such a big roast, but that's kind of what I'm going for. Let's go ahead and get it open. I'm starting to like a lot of the things that I'm able to source from Porter Road. I can't typically get a lot of these proteins from my area of Texas that I live in. Alright. So we can take off of here some of these smaller portions. It's hanging off. They're going to burn. Let's see. I'm not going to take any of this fat off. So one of the issues I have, and why I don't use the Pit Boss as much as I probably should, is that generally the bottom of the proteins that I cook typically tend to dry out or burn. All right. We're going to still round things off. So don't use it as much as I should. Everything here is looking clean. Let's give it a flip over, and there we have it. Again, this is pork. Coppa roast. Coppa roast. C-O-P-P-A. I will have a link in the description down below more about this, and I will have up above where this comes from on a pig. It is a portion of the pork butt. Alright, we're going to leave it as is, and this is going to be my presentation side. So we're going to season this side first. So we're going to use pickle juice. These are from some homemade pickles. As you can see, the pickles are all gone. Quite delicious. This pickle juice smells quite fragrant. I'm going to use this as my binder. Now we're going to give it a mix. Mustard and pickle juice. You can use just water. Really, I didn't have to use a binder. However, I didn't want to get all those juices all over my counter. Give it a mix. We're going to get this binder over. You don't need much. We're going to get that massaged in. So already I like the beautiful striations of fat that we have in this. I know this is going to shrink some. Have no problem with that. Don't really want to be cooking a 14, 15 pound pork, but it takes a bit too long. I don't have the time right now. So this is going to be an overnight cook. And the pellet grill is going to allow me to do that. Now, I've been going back and forth whether I should put this on a pellet grill or put it on my stick burner. I don't feel like staying up all night tonight, so we're going to let it ride at a low temperature on my pellet grill tonight. You see that? Looks beautiful. All right. Nice and even layer. Get that top off. And I'm going to come from up high with it. Have an issue with getting dark bark on your proteins? Use more pepper. You want a lighter bark on your proteins? Use less pepper. Real simple. Excuse me, this black pepper has me coughing. I'm back with the Kosher Salt. It's diamond crystal. This is still a large piece of meat And I'm going for pulled. So you still want to season it generously. What you don't want to happen is to not be able to taste any of the salt you used in the final product. Even though generally with pulled pork, you're going to have to go back through and re-season anyway. So this also will help for bark formation as well. Cap it off with some Lawry's. Up high, nice even coating. Okay. These seasonings, this is fine. This will set here for the next 20 to 30 minutes, and I'll go ahead and get cleaned up, and then go ahead and get my pellet grill going, and we're gonna put this on for a long overnight cook. All right, YouTube. Here's what we're working with today. Here is the pellet blend I'm going to be working with. So this is Pit Boss's Applewood Hard Blend. It's their Apple Blend bags. Like I said, I haven't used this this pellet smoker in a minute, so some of this stuff I am going to be catching up on. However, I am in a form and I do keep up with all the changing, so I think the major thing for this particular pellet grill is how we started up. I'll walk you through that here shortly. But in the meantime, let's see if we can get that forms right here in the middle. As the hopper takes in, as the auger takes in these pellets, sometimes it'll form into a V, and then there'll be a void right in the middle. Other than that, we've got this hopper pretty much full. Now, for this cook, I probably won't even use half of this hopper. It's pretty good on using pellets. However, let me point out to you some of the design flaws. And I wish that Pit Boss would have redone some things better than this. So here's my fire box. There's an actual fire pot up under here. Now, that fire pot, in my experience, needs to be cleaned after and before every cook. I didn't get it on camera, but I came out here with my my shop vacuum and I got that in. This box must be in place. This is cast iron, and then now we have, this is a water pan. I cleaned that out. I'll get it full of water or some liquid substance, and then I do have 2 or 3 other grates for this, but we're going to run with water in the pan, and then I'm going to probably move this grate a bit higher, right? So in my experience with this, the bottom of my proteins generally get done before everything else is dried out and sometimes burnt up. I've burnt a few briskets on this. Not the biggest cooker. This, I believe the name of it is a Copperhead, I believe it is. It's one of the first or second gens, I want to say. One of my main gripes with this is this area down here gets really dirty, right? So there is a drain here. However, that drain doesn't catch everything. And as you can see, as we start cooking and grease starts rendering, you can see down here my panel is pretty much blown out, right? That's one thing. However, I still remember how to use this. I don't know. I go by the clicks, so I know what temperature I'm set at, right? So other than that, I got a few other things to do. I'll bring you guys back out here when I'm getting ready to start this up. Stay tuned. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna turn the power on. We're gonna hold the prime button for 3 to 5 seconds, or until I start to hear pellets drop. I hear the auger moving. I hear pellets dropping. I'll get a few more dropped out. All right. So now, remember, so this start is with the door open. One of the #1 problems with these is they will explode if you don't have your door open. So now we're at smoke. We're going to go up. Actually, I'm sorry. So to start with this is we're going to wait until we start to see smoke generating, and then I'm going to turn this knob. I think it's recommended that you get this thing as hot as possible to get some of the odor particulates out. I can let it burn out, and then I'll close the door once it has started. Stay tuned. Alright, so now we have smoke being generated. Now I'm going to turn this to the highest temperature possible, and I'm going to let it get going. I'll see fire coming out of the fire pot. Then and only then when I go ahead and close this, so I can start the burn off process. Alright, I'll bring you guys back when that portion's done. So the startup with this isn't hard. I find it really hard to keep all of this clean. Now there are some mods. I never did those mods, and frankly this stays out here under my awning. Eventually one day I'll get to it, clean it up. However, I've had no issues with this running. I think I've got an error with this once, and I think that was because my power supply here at the house. Other than that, stay tuned. Alright, so I've just put the roast on here. It's only been about 10-15 minutes. As you can see, I'm opening it up on a smoke cycle so you guys can see. I got my roast sitting up here. We're going to let it rock. I'm going to stay up for the next hour or so, making sure my temperatures don't peak too high or come down too low. Other than that, I like the moisture on this. That's going to attract more smoke. It's still very indeed cold. Again, it's going to attract more smoke. Hopefully, next time I'm opening this and I show this to you guys, we're warmed up like a big dog. Stay tuned. Alright, it's been about 8 hours. I'm going to go ahead and get this wrapped. Probably another hour, hour and a half, this should be done. Let's go ahead and wrap it up so I can get it back on the smoker. Alright, so we're going to let it rot the rest of the way like this. I might even bump temps so it's not on. So it's not on that long. Stay tuned. YouTube, B Smokehouse back here with you. And I've got my finished final product of this Coppa roast sitting here in my barbecue meat blanket bag. See this? This was a Christmas gift that I got. It's going to help keep things warm and give it that nice rest that large proteins deserve. Alright, let's talk about it. I had some issues with my pellet smoker because, you know, after 8 hours in or so, it just stopped working, right? It cut off. I was watching it and then it just cut off. So I'm almost positive it blew a circuit breaker here in my house. That's fine. I'll get that fixed. However, I'm not ready to part ways with my pit boss yet. And I'll have that thing for many years to come. I've already had it for many years to come. Right? So here is the roast. I'm going to treat this much like some roast pork. And we're going to create a delicious sandwich out of it. Let's get it out of this pack. And actually, first let me get a glove on, because this thing's pretty greasy. I also kind of hurried this cook because I attended service this morning. Part of my New Year's resolution. But we're not going to stop cooking though. Alright? So, let's get this out of here and let's see what it looks like. Okay. I want to make sure we get all those bits of foil off of this. Alright. It's shrunk down quite a bit. Let's get that foil off of there. Here's what we're working with. It smells awesome. Let's cut into the middle of this. So I did pull this off at 180. Oh, this is really super juicy. So that means we got some excellent fat rendering. So my goal with this is I'm going to slice it as thin as possible. Again, this is a portion of pork butt known as the Coppa roast. Look how juicy that is. It's highly juicy. I like it. So let's get a few thin slices off of here. and give it a taste. And I'm gonna put a sandwich together. I'm gonna sit down and finish watching some football. See that? Highly tender, still juicy. I thought I was gonna dry it out because I used that pellet smoker. Not the case. It's delicious. Tastes a little bit more meatier, if you will, than just cooking a whole pork butt. Held its texture together. I like that. That's really good. So, a portion of this had that money muscle in it. It was a rather small money muscle. This tastes more like a roast, right? Doesn't have that bland flavor that can come from a pork butt itself. Granted, we're only seasoning the outside, right? I like this, and like I said, I'm going to use this for some roast pork. So we'll start off here getting some very thin slices. That looks quite delicious. It's smelling awesome as well. Got a lot of that spinach in there. You see that Coppa roast that I'm using for roast pork. See the different layers of cheese. Those pickles. Let's go. Alright, let's give it a taste so I can let you know what I think, notwithstanding the issues that I had. I'll get out there and I'll mess that smoker, give it a nice clean. But in the meantime, I'm still grateful for what I was able to produce today. New resolution is to be a bit more consistent with my post. I do understand with this algorithm, I have affected the amount of viewers that I'm able to get by my inconsistency. You see that? Let's see. All right. Nice spice from that chipotle mayonnaise. That meat stands out. It's tender. It's juicy. Of course, those onions give it a nice pop. Those pickles add some brightness and some acidity. And of course, we made this healthy by adding all that spinach to it. Guys, welcome to the new year. I'm going to be a bit more consistent in my posting, and I'm going to try to post more per week. How do you like your roast pork sandwich? Have you ever had a roast pork sandwich? Until the next video, B Smokehouse out.